Hello to everyone, and in today's video I would like to present to you the varieties and register of language in spoken and written form. And as you all know, language varies in a different person because of the different aspects of a person, its gender, its sexuality, its culture and tradition. But language has different varieties and registers as we go on through, especially in the spoken and written type. Okay, first let's proceed to the spoken varieties and registers of language. First, we have the static register or frozen register. We usually heard this language, especially in prayers and also in our panatang makabayan, in our flag ceremonies, and in different types of spoken languages that are in a standard form. Usually, it cannot be changed in time and content. Next, we have the formal register. In formal register, we are using it especially in speeches because we have a following format and we are using this in different types of pronouncements like speeches, like oratory, like sermons, and like homilies. And we usually heard this during public events. Next, consultative register. Consultative register, we usually heard this during a meeting where the boss and his subordinates are having discussions. An example, doctor and patient, where the patients are having a checkup with his or her doctor. Usually, we use the word consultation in this manner. Next, we have the casual register. It is the informal language used by our friends in speaking. Like, we have our chica and chismis with our friends. We usually use the casual register. And lastly, in the spoken language varieties and register is the intimate register. This is usually for the family, close friends, or the lover of a person. Some of these are the husband and wives, and this communication is for private purposes only. Now, let's proceed to the written language varieties and registers. For the written language, we have two varieties, which is formal and informal text. In formal text, it is usually used in academic purposes like research papers, doctoral reviews, thesis, research purposes, scientific reviews. And while the informal text, it is usually used in text messages, chats, Viber messages, and the chit chats. In the past, we have these love letters, and usually it is informal text. So hopefully, you have learned some new things in my short discussion for today's video. And I would like to say thank you and have a nice day to everyone.
A pleasant day, everyone. I am lovely Jean T. Pantilag from Team Paym. So for today's lesson, I will be discussing lesson 6, which is evaluating messages of different types of text across cultures. And this lesson has only one particular topic, and it is the types of text across cultures. So before we proceed, let's have first the objectives. First, identify the different types of text or the multimodal text. Next, describe multimodal text. Third one, evaluate messages or images in multimodal text. Fourth, create multimodal text. And lastly, we have show respect to the communication rules of different cultures. So for the picture or these line, different spokes, different strokes. I think most of us always heard about these line. So this particular line implies that people all over the world have their own ways of doing things. We cannot ignore how people express their thoughts, ideas, and emotions. The challenge of conveying the message created more complex yet truthful channels to tell the story of an audience. So the stage, the color, the paper, emails, billboards, and many others carry the thoughts that people want the world to hear and see. So, for the question, why do we evaluate messages, or why is it essential for us to evaluate texts of different cultures? So when we see evaluation, it is a method of examining a program, a practice, or it is an intervention in order to determine how well it achieves its objectives. So, in other words, evaluations aid in determining what works well and where improvements can be made in the system. So, since multicultural literature is a powerful tool in helping students understand their own culture as well as the cultures of others, it is very essential for us to know or to evaluate texts of different cultures, for it can strengthen relationship. As a result of this, it can increase knowledge, bridging the gap between students from various cultural backgrounds, according to Sue and Hetzel 2000. So first, let us define what is multimodal. So from the word itself, multi and mode, when we say multi, it refers to many or various, and mode, a channel, a form, or medium of doing something. It literally refers to many different ways of doing or communicating something. Similarly, the term text used to refer to a linguistic structure woven out of words or signs to express meanings, but now it refers to any mode or resource used to convey a set of meanings to those who read or examine the text. The Australian curriculum defines multimodal as the strategic use of multiple modes of communication, two or more communication modes to create meaning, such as image, music, as well as spoken and written language. Now, let's have the forms of multimodal. So we have the four forms of multimodal. First, let's discuss the print-based multimodal text. So what are these? The example of these are picture books, textbooks, graphic novels, newspapers, comics, posters, etc. So these are those printed materials. Now, for the second one, we have the digital multimodal text. So, from the word digital, these are more on presentations, more on using the technology. So, like ebooks, blogs, or e-posters, web pages, social media, film, video games, and animation. So, for the third one, we have the live multimodal text. So from the word itself live, so these are mostly those live performances such as performance, dance, oral storytelling, which combines various modes such as gestural, spatial, audio, and oral languages. So we all know that when we say we have live performances, we need to consider a lot of things such as our movements, our facial expressions, because it adds a color or colors to our performances. Next, or for the last one in the forms of multimodal text, we have multimodal text can be transmedia. So what does it mean? We can use many channels or modes to disseminate a message, to tell a story through the combination of multiple media platforms. So the purpose of transmedia storytelling is to create a unified and coordinated entertainment experiences, according to Jenkins 2007. So for instance, in the Matrix franchise, key bits of information are conveyed through 3 live-action films, a series of animated shorts, 2 collections of comic book stories, and several video games. Okay, so now let's proceed in creating multimodal text. So these are the steps or the requirements according to Goggich 2020. First, let's determine your rhetorical situation. When brainstorming your rhetorical situation, think about the purpose of your text, who you want to read or interact with, or to be more specific, it is your audience. Next, your relationship to the message and audience. Fourth, we have the genre of text you want to write. And lastly, we have where you want to distribute it, or it refers to the medium. So for the second one, we have review and analyze other multimodal text. I'm sorry for that. So after you've brainstormed your rhetorical situation and decided on the type of text you want to write, it's time to start looking for other texts that are representative of your topic and genre. Following the discovery of these texts, you can conduct a brief research or brief analysis by responding to the following questions. So first, we have what is the author's message, who are they addressing, what type of text did they create, how was the text distributed or its medium. We have what modes of communication are they using, and what, in your opinion, needs work. So now for the third one, we have gather content, media, and tools. Once you have determined your rhetorical situation and examined other multimodal texts, you should begin gathering information and materials. In this process, there are three components that are included. First is the content, visual and oral materials, and lastly the technology tools. So for the fourth one, we have cite and attribute information appropriately. For the fifth one, we have begin drafting your text. So in here, it is stated that outlining or mapping your project should be part of the drafting process. If you have a word-heavy multimodal text, such as a website, this could take the form of writing all the text you want to include in an outline, showing if you're making a poster or commercial, or it's either you're writing a script or making a podcast or a video. You can combine any of these outlining methods or devise your own, but planning ahead of time will make your final text much stronger and more coherent, since creating a multimodal text, it takes a lot of time. It needs a lot of preparation for you to have an efficient and stronger multimodal text. Now, what is or how important multimodal texts are? So multimodal texts have the potential to improve student comprehension. Next, it can boost motivation as well. Lastly, it allows students to create multimodal text, for it can assist them in expressing their learnings in a variety of ways. So now, let's proceed to the video or the variety of multimedia text. First one, we have this video advocacy campaign. So, advocacy refers to the process of bringing about change in policies, law, or people's behavior or attitudes. So when we say video advocacy, it is about using visual media as a strategic tool to engage people to create change. So here are the requirements for making advocacy video. First one, we have setting objectives. Next, identifying your target audiences. And lastly, developing a strategic plan for production and distribution to ensure the video has an impact. So always remember that video advocacy is a video for a reason or cause. Video is the medium, advocacy is the purpose, and change is the goal. Now let's proceed to the second type of variety of multimedia. We have the Public Service Announcement, or the PSA, according to Bell 2010. So a PSA is any message that promotes the programs, services, or activities like the local or national government or any non-profit organization. So what can PSA do? PSAs can do. So it can create or raise awareness about an important topic. It shows the importance of a problem or issue. It can convey information, and most especially, it promotes a behavioral change. So, in other words, PSA allows an individual to become advocates for social change. Now, how do we do this public service announcement? So first, we have choose your topic. Of course, it is very important for us to choose the topic that are one of the most major issue in society. Next, time for research. Of course, it takes a lot of effort for you to do a research because all of your informations, all of the things that are need to be included must be authentic and relevant. Next, we have consider your audience. Fourth one, grab your audience attention. And lastly, create a script and keep your script to a few simple statements. So in PSA, it doesn't need to be that long, or you can be direct to the point as long as you pointed out the problem and how to solve that problem. Now for the last one, we have the media campaign. So Cambridge Business English Dictionary defines media campaign as a planned series of newspaper articles, television interviews. Now, what are the following steps in making campaign? Now, here are the guidelines in evaluating the messages in multimodal text. First, what is your message? So, evaluating messages or images is necessary to check the truth, accuracy, and relevance of any information you are reading, seeing, or hearing. Next, what is the purpose of the message? Third one, we have how is the message conveyed by the text or image. So always remember that message represents social reality. Fourth one, we have who is the target audience. So in here, different people respond differently depending on their attitudes, life experiences, needs, knowledge, and the like. What are the other ways of presenting the messages? So messages have unique forms, language, symbols, and other forms. The type of message determine the form, language, symbols, and images that will be used in it. So now to conclude, you're probably already using multiple modalities in your classroom on a daily basis. They're crucial for improving comprehension by changing the way information is presented. They also help students who struggle with traditional modes of communication to become more motivated. So finally, it allows students to present their learning in multiple modes, encourages more learners to feel successful. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation. Here are my references, and thank you so much for listening.
Good morning, everyone. Before we proceed to the main discussion, here are the following objectives. At the end of the chapter, the students should be able to create clear, coherent, and effective communication materials. Second, present ideas persuasively using appropriate language, vocal variety, movements, and consider audience and context in communicating ideas, and discuss the importance of effective communication in the workplace. And now, I would like to hear your thoughts about this picture. How can you associate this picture in our topic today? Thank you for your participation. So I have devised this activity because it is relevant for today's discussion. And now let's dig deeper and get to know more about the topic so that we can figure out what the activity is all about. So today I am going to discuss about communication across profession. But before that, what is communication? So according to Cambridge Dictionary, communication can be defined as a process of sharing information, especially when this increases understanding between people or groups. Additionally, communication is one of the factors that contribute to the success or failure in the individual's profession and the organization's endeavors for success. This reminds us that when we engage in the communication event, we need to be mindful of our audience and of the context in the delivery of information, which includes the used language, the vocal, the variety in registers, and gestures. Next, we have communication in the workplace. To get our work done, we can't turn to the people around us easily. We have to make a deliberate effort to reach out, connect with others, and build relationships with them, according to Cashiop 2019. Communication in the workplace is about making that connection with others in your organization and creating an environment where everyone feels included. Here, it's about communicating in a way that allows your team to accomplish its goal and make progress. Communication in the workplace is important because it boosts employee morale, engagement, productivity, and satisfaction. Communication is also key for better team collaboration and cooperation. Ultimately, effective workplace communication helps drive better results for individuals, teams, and organizations. For example, most companies today use technologies that don't require team members to be in the same room, the same building, or even the same country. This shift presents new communication challenges, which means managers can facilitate collaboration by helping groups communicate effectively when using the latest technologies, according to Campbell 2022.
On the other hand, these are the presentation skills impact in the workplace according to Boradillo 2018.
First, we have at networking function, meeting new people or renewing acquaintances. Networking usually involves meeting new people who share a profession, industry, or interest, or exchanging ideas and information between individuals. It can establish connections, relationships with the right people at the right time. That could be the key to taking your career to the next level. Presenting reports or research output at forum. What should be included? First and foremost, it is always important to refer to the American Psychological Association APA publication manual as well as to your specific conferences guidelines. Second, prior to building any presentation, consider your audience. Will they be scientists who are familiar with your research area, or will they be individuals who work in other areas or who may never had a class in psychology? Based on the answer to this question, you will want to make sure you structure your presentation with appropriate depth and terminology. Often, the background and theory for your research must be presented concisely in order for you to have time to present your study and findings. 10 minutes is not much time. Share what needs to be shared and emphasize the main points so that your audience has a clear understanding of your take-home messages. As what stated, Psychological Science Agenda 2014. And now let's proceed to communication strategies to increase work productivity by Cashiop 2019. First, we have encourage two-way communication. Two-way communication is a key element in establishing a fruitful work environment based on mutual trust. Not only does it prevent valuable employees from leaving, but it further boosts their performance by making them want to work rather than have to work. Next, we have two-way communication leads to trust and loyalty at the workplace. According to research by Innsbruck University School of Management, the major drivers of employee satisfaction are trust and loyalty. The authors of the research claim that trust and loyalty have a direct influence on the quality of performance due to their positive impact on motivation and morale. However, they point out that it's not only the trust in management that matters, but also the trust in peers, especially in more modern, team-based environments.
And now let's discuss about the value of effective communication in the workplace.
First, we have avoidance of miscommunication. Next, positive workplace vibes, easy solution to conflicts, good teamwork, boosting self-confidence, less task error, high employee morale, effective work relationship, and business success. Business meetings in action. Whether your business is small, medium, or large scale, you can't avoid conducting meetings with your employees, business partners, stakeholders, clients, business prospects. Business meeting is the way to make the business operate relevantly, and profitably. In your meetings, you will know the condition of your workers, the relevance of your products, the needs of the clients, the status of your profits, and your relationship to your business. That is why you need to convey your business thoughts to your employees and at the same time to get their thoughts on what is going with the business. So there is a need to know the best effective protocols in putting the meeting in order. And according to Vantage Circle 2022, business meetings are crucial aspects of an organization. It helps you keep a tab on the organization's processes and activities to reach its goals and objectives. It allows you to stay updated, discuss ideas, solve problems, make collective decisions, and also helps in team building. So these are the 8 ways to make meetings better, Baradillo 2018. First, be prepared. Second, have a meeting agenda. Start on time and end on time. Fourth, have fewer meetings. Fifth, accept other participants' ideas. Have focus. Delegate tasks clearly. Lastly, ask for feedback. Okay, now let's discuss about the correspondence in the business. For your business to continue existing and making profit, you need to construct and deliver the appropriately prepared business correspondence. The nature and culture of your business and your leadership in your business are directly manifested in the kind of correspondence you give to your employees and to the people outside your building. Your letters in any format or forms are your preliminary actions or creating transactions with the people who will give profit or who will give you troubles. The goal of business correspondence is to communicate accurately and effectively. Therefore, it is important to select the most appropriate format for the message and its recipients. Business correspondence can include people or businesses. They may include individuals who are in the position to give or receive business information, such as president, a vice president, a chief operating officer, and or a business manager. Now, the importance of business correspondence. A business correspondence has numbers of importance. Its most important feature is the ease of reaching and communicating with different parties. Business correspondence is essential in realizing organizational goals. Meeting people personally can be quite a time-consuming job, hence, business correspondence helps businesses with maintaining a proper relationship, serves as evidence, create and maintain goodwill, and inexpensive and convenient. Types of business correspondence. Let us get ourselves familiar with some of them. First, internal correspondence. Second, external correspondence. Third, routine correspondence. Fourth, sales correspondence, personalized correspondence, and circulars. Internal correspondence. It refers to the correspondence between the individuals, departments, or branches of the same organization. Second, external correspondence. It refers to the correspondence between two individuals. These are not of the same organization. Any correspondence outside the organization is external correspondence. Customer and suppliers, banks, educational institutions, government departments. Routine correspondence. It refers to the correspondence on routine manners. A correspondence made for inquiries, orders, replies, acknowledgments, invitations, and appointment letters. Personalized correspondence. It refers to the correspondence based on emotional factors. Letters of the request, recommendation, congratulations are personal correspondence. And letter of introduction, granting, and the refusal of terms are some of its examples. And for the last one, we have circulars. It refers to the communication of common matter to a large number of persons or firms. Circulars, notices of tenders, change of address, and opening of the new branch come under this category. An introduction of new product is also its example. The parts of a business letter. First, we have heading, date, reference, inside address, subject, salutation, body of the letter, complimentary, signature, enclosures, copy circulation, and postscript. So here are the references. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Hi, good day everyone. I am roberl and I am from Team Paym. So today I will be discussing about lesson 8, which is communication across profession, and it has two types of topics. And there are technical report writing, and interview for successful. So, communication is one of the factors that contribute to be successful or failure of an individual's career and success of an organization efforts. This reminds us that when we engage in communication, we need to be mindful of our audience and the context in which the message is delivered, including the language used, the variety and register of voices and gestures. We must consider what type of audience we have so that we can avoid misunderstanding and miscommunication. So now let's proceed to our first topic, which is what is technical report writing. So technical report writing is a formal report designed to convey technical information in a clear and easy accessible format. It is divided into sections which allows different readers to access different levels of information. The commonly accepted format for a technical report, I will be explain the purpose of individual section and give hints on how to go about drafting and refining a report in order to produce an accurate professional document. So now let's proceed to the structures. A technical report should contain the following section: title page, summary, content, introduction, body of report, conclusions, reference. Next is bibliography, acknowledgement, appendices. So what is title page? What includes must include the title of the report. Reports for assessment where the word length has been specified will often also require the summary word count and main text word count. For the summary of the whole report including important features, result, and conclusions. So for the content, numbers and list all section and subsection headings with page number. Introduction states the objectives of the report and comments on the way the topic of the report is to be treated. Leads straight into the report itself, must not be a copy of the introduction in a love handout. For the body of report, divided into numbered and headed sections. These sections separate the different main ideas and the logical order. And for the conclusion, a short logical summing up of the theme or themes developed in the main text. And for the reference or references, details of published sources of material referred to or quoted in the text, including any lecture notes and URL addresses of any website used. For the bibliography, other published sources of material, including websites not referred to in the text but useful for background and further readings. For the acknowledgement, list of people who help you research or prepare the report, including your proofreaders. And the last one, appendices, any further material which is essential for full understanding of your report. For example, large-scale diagrams, computer code, raw data specifications, but not required by a casual reader. So now let's proceed to the preparation on how to make technical report. For technical reports required as part of an assessment, the following preparation guidelines are recommended. So first is script. Second one is margins. Third one, page number and binding. Script: the report must be printed single-sided on white A4 paper. Handwritten or dot matrix printed reports are not acceptable. For margin, all four margins must be at least 2.54 cm. And for the for the page numbers, do not include the title page, summary, or content page in the adding the page 1. Number all other pages consecutively starting at 1. And for the last one, binding, a single staple in the top left corner or 3 staples spaced down the left-hand margin. For longer reports, for example, 3 years project report, binders may be used. So now, let's proceed. How can we write, or how to write technical report? First is, the first thing that you should do before you write your report is assembling all the sources that may be useful in creating content for your report. You can get all this in the library, notes, or even in the different educational websites or blogs. Second one is, you should list down the topics and ideas of what your report is to be covered or cover randomly. After listing them, arrange them by classifying those that relate with each other to same group. And for the third one, after arranging the ideas, you need to write roughly into small subheadings. This is the rough outline of how the report should be appear. And for the fourth one, writing the first draft. At this point, you only need to write the body inclusive of headings and subheadings to the end. Include the number of reference materials that you wish to use. So after that, after you have completed with the first draft, you need to revise it to pinpoint where changes need to be done. All these points, you should ensure that your report contains all the necessary information. You should also consider the reader here, so that if it's a professional report, it portrays the qualities of a professional report. While revising, you also need to ensure that all your objectives has been ascertained in the report as per the topic is given. And for the last one, while writing your report, you may need to use some diagrams and graphs to make the readers understand what you are talking about. Technical information is best put across by use of other means other than word. You need to know the right format for this diagram and tables to ensure success in making your work. So, what is the purpose of making a technical report? The purpose of a technical report is to thoroughly and clearly describe technical work, why it is done, the results obtained, and the implication those results. The technical report serves as a means of communication, the work of others, and possibly providing helpful information about the work at the same time. So now, let's proceed to our next topic, which is interview for successful employment. As part of a hiring process of any business, interview of the applicant is one of the highlights which the applicant will be engaged in. As an interviewee, you will be assessed according to the company's standard. Your knowledge, skills, competencies, and communication skills will be evaluated. And most of the time, your communication skills is presenting yourself to the probable employer plays a vital role in your hiring or non-hiring of the job you applied for. So now, let's proceed to the types of employment interview. First is planned interview. What is planned interview? This interview where to achieve is desired objective must be pre-planned. What is pre-planned? Before the interview starts, the interviewer should prepare himself and should follow a definite plan of action. Before the candidate actually arrives, the interviewer should carefully study his application and try to memorize the more important details about her, about him. Second one is group interview. In this type of interview, all the candidates or group of candidates are interviewed together. Group interviews are conducted to save time when there is a large number of applicants for a few job vacancies. A topic will be given to discuss among the candidates, and the interviewers judge the innovativeness and behavior of each candidate in the group. So now the next one is depth interview. It's a semi-structured interview where the candidates have to give a detailed information about their education background, work experiences, special interests, and etc. And in this interview takes a depth interview and tries in finding the expertise of a employee. So the next one is stress interview. Stress interview are conducted to discover how a candidate behaves in stressful conditions. In this type of interview, the interviewer will come to know whether the candidate can handle the demand of a complex job. The candidate who can maintain his composure during a stress interview is normally the right person to handle a stressful job. For the next one is panel interview. Panel interview, as the name indicates, is being conducted by a group of people. In this type of interview, there are 5 members of the selection committee will be asking questions to the candidates on different aspects. The final discussion will be taken by all members of the panel collectively. And for the second to the last is pattern interviews. As an interview format, pattern interviews usually are considered the most reliable method of gathering information. This interview asks each candidate a carefully crafted set of identical questions in the same way and in the same order. Generally, follow-up questions are discouraged because information gathered in the manner is thought to prejudice the interviewer's opinions from volunteering information outside the scope of the pattern interview. In such information, it preserves often an eliminated form of candidate's interview file. So the last one is the non-directive interview. During the non-directive interview, which may be highly unstructured, the candidate is not directed by question as to what he should talk about. Basic to this procedure is the minimum use of direct object. So here are the steps on how to prepare for an employment interview. First one is prepare for the interview as an employee. You should gather information as you can about the company. Having this background information also makes it easier for you to think of questions to ask the employer during the interview. Find out the essential elements of the job and think about how they match your skills and interests. First is make sure that you know the time and the interview is scheduled for, where the interview will take place, the name of the job title of the person who will interview you, and whether you need to bring anything to the interview. Next is knowing in advance where the interview will take place increases your confidence and decreases the possibility of arriving late. Allow extra time for unexpected delays. If the place of interview is in the busy part of town or where parking spaces are limited, you may want to consider using public transportation and bring all the requirements needed. Step 2 is just for success. Your appearance says a lot about you. To make the best first impression at your interview, be clean, be groomed, and nicely dressed. A good rule of thumb is to dress one step above what you would wear on the job, or at minimum in good, clean dressing clothing. Before you interview, you need to get a haircut, groom your hands and nails. If you have a breed or Mustang, trim it so it looks neat, and lay your clothes out night before you are sure it is clean and all there, and so on and so forth. So now let's proceed to the third one. Step 3, which is practice. We all know that practice makes perfect. So try a mock interview. Several days before your interview, have a friend or a family member ask you questions about the interview. So prepare for your interview by reviewing samples interview questions you should expect an employer to ask you. For the instance, why do you want to work for this company? Second, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Tell me about yourself, or tell me about your educational background. Study yourself to identify how your qualification match the job. For step 4, practice. We all know that practice makes perfect. Try a mock interview several days before your interview. Have a friend or a family member ask you to interview questions. Prepare for your interview by reviewing samples interview questions. You could expect an employer to ask you, for instance, why do you want to work for this company? What is your strength and weaknesses? Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your background of your education, and so on and so forth. So for the 5th is the interview. Most interviews start with introduction, handshakes, and casual conversation. Always remember that the interviewer may be nervous too. This conversation helps everyone feel relaxed, be energetic and enthusiastic, smile, and offer a firm handshake. It is fine for you to initiate handshake. If you are meeting someone who is unable to shake hands for some reason, it is still a polite way for you to offer your right hand. So the last one, which is after the interview, write and send a thank you letter for your interviewer or anyone else who spoke with during your interview. Type your thank you letter on a computer. Be sure to check your spelling of all names and titles. Thank the interviewer for the time he or she took to interview you. Re-emphasize your skills, talents, and abilities, and include anything you may have forgotten to add during the interview or in your resume that might help you to get the job. So, therefore, the interview is a vital step to obtaining a career position, and often depends on your skills and marketing your potential. Do not miss out a good position for which you are qualified due to a lack of presentation and practice. You need to be ready to answer questions about your career goals and background. You will also want to develop intelligent questions of your own help you obtain the necessary information for making an informed decision. Furthermore, preparation helps build your self-confidence in your interview skills, and it is the key to success interviewing. So now, that's all for today. We are done for our discussion. I explained all, and these are my references. And thank you for listening, and God bless. Goodbye.
Good day, everyone. I am Joan and Maquiling, and today I am going to present to you a very engaging topic that will surely make you wonder that form of copying is legal and what is not. Today I am going to discuss a lesson 9 entitled Modes for Academic Purposes. So, at the end of this presentation and discussion, we hopefully are going to achieve the following objectives. First, we have written and presented academic papers using appropriate tone, style, conventions, and reference styles. Second, identified elements to consider in crafting an academic write-up. And lastly, we have observed the ways to avoid plagiarism. Is this the first time you have heard of the word plagiarism? If yes, then let us ask this very important question. In the academic world of writing, what do you know about the crime called plagiarism? And before we proceed to discuss the crime of plagiarism, allow me to present and discuss with you the 9 aspects to consider in academic writing. And these are: first, we have organization; second, tone; third, the choice of words; fourth, the language; fifth, the punctuations; sixth, academic conventions; seven, evidence-based argument; eight, thesis-driven; and lastly, 9, complexity and higher order thinking. For students like us, we have been aware of how difficult it is to write academically, since in this kind of writing, a student must follow certain criteria and use formal language in order to express an idea or a thought so that a reader may understand the message. You have to be accurate in stating your facts in order to build credibility. In academic writing, there should be organization in the process, and the flow must be comprehensive. The tone, choice of words, and language, as well as punctuations, are all very important, and a student like me must need to master them in order to proficiently express my ideas. Thoughts as expressed should be formal and structured. There must be use of correct punctuation and must serve its purpose and deliver meaning. We must write with clarity and not overuse so many words to express a certain thought. If we were to use the words of an author in order to help us express an idea, we should cite sources and give them due recognition. And most of all, we must efficiently evaluate, create, make judgments, reflect, and synthesize all academic writings for them to be correct and factual. And now, let us proceed to plagiarism. So, what is plagiarism? So, plagiarism, the copying of word or ideas of another person and using them as your own. And what are the and there are plagiarism, and there are two types of plagiarism. First is plagiarism of idea. Second, plagiarism of language. There are instances when the hard work of another person is being stolen by another individual and claims the work as his own, whether it be an original of the person or his words being stolen. This is not good in academic writing because when a person commits plagiarism, it is tantamount to stealing, and no one has the right to take someone's property for his own benefit. And it is laziness of the one committing plagiarism, since the English language is very diverse and profound, and you can express yourself in a million ways. Plagiarism of idea is when you copy an idea or data and information and claim them as your own study. And plagiarism of language is when a person copies 3 or more sentences from an original concept or source without referring to or citing the original author of the sentences, thus making it look like it is your own words. You may ask yourself if we are prone to plagiarism as we write along the way. So, how can we prevent committing the crime of plagiarism? So, in order for us to prevent this committing crime of plagiarism, first we have understand what constitutes plagiarism. Second, we have learn what does not constitute plagiarism. Third, we have check out the rules regarding copyright. Fourth, we have learned how to properly cite references. Fifth, we have learned how to paraphrase. And sixth, we have review. And seven, and lastly, we have take advantage of your professor's knowledge. So, one can commit plagiarism, and we must be very careful in citing sources or using words from the author word for word without citation. With respect to the author, we must not copy works from other authors word for word just to make our lives easy. In short, plagiarism is committed by someone who does not want to do hard work or spend so much the researching, and instead uses original and authentic words for a work or written material. So once again, I am Joan Maquiling. I hope you like my discussion. Good day and thank you for listening.